Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger, my friends. We're back at it again for Tekken 8, and I got a very interesting video for you today because we're talking special style. So special style is, on paper, the beginner easy mode, right? You hit the buttons, baby mode, easy combos, right? You don't have to learn how to play the game for real. You just kind of mash, and it'll give you all the cool stuff. And in and of itself, sure, that works. There's a value to that for the more casual player. But in some of my experimenting with the mode, it might actually be very useful for a more competitive-minded individual as well. So we've already had all the fights about this kind of stuff in Street Fighter 6 in modern mode, right? And if in case you don't know, like I don't like modern mode. But what I do like is excellent results with a minimum of effort. And that's what special style really gives us. Because, like, say, unlike modern mode in Street Fighter 6, we can turn this off and on at will. Like in Street Fighter 6, if you want to be in modern, you got to play the whole match as modern. You can't just turn it off and on to get one-button uppercuts. Because if you would, I'd be using exactly that, right? But in Tekken 8, you can turn it on and off whenever you want. And that sort of leads us to the premise of our video today. So certain characters, certain moves, you can use them in special style. Like, hey, do you want the easy mode, baby electric? Sure. We all love it, right? But it sucks, right? It's got to be big downsides. Not as big as you would think, actually. So we'll use electrics first as a base example, and we'll move on to a couple other moves later on in the vid. But just to give an example here, the electric uppercut, right? The electric Wind God Fist. And this is the proper version, not the version if you screw up. And just FYI, before we really get into it, when you're in special mode here, it can never, ever screw up. There's no human error possible. It's always the electric version no matter what. But hey, how much damage does it do? It does 23. In special mode, it does 23. So there's no modern damage penalty. On block, hey, it's +5 on block. Special style, +5 on block. So same deal. So what's the penalty, if any? Because it's not damage. It's not like the frames on block or whatever. Certainly not the juggles, because the juggle is just as high. The penalty, quote unquote, is the startup. So to do an electric Wind God Fist, you need to do the associated crouch dash with it, right? And generally it's forward, take forward, they do a step, return the neutral, and then hit down forward. And then it'll be something like this, and when you do it correctly, boom, you get your electric, right? Great, good. So when you do the special style electric, it's assuming your crouch dash is slower, quote unquote. So from start to finish, when you hit the button to when the button connects, it will be exactly 18 frames. Now it says 11 when you look at attack startup frames, right? Because that's when the electric comes out of the crouch dash, right? So the actual physical move is 11 frames. Just you got to crouch dash first, right? So if I do it the manual proper way, they'll still say 11, right? But it doesn't take into account the frames beforehand. So basically, when you're doing the special style version of the electric, it's assuming your wave dash took 7 frames total, which is quote unquote, once again, slower. With perfect timing, 11 frame startup on the electric. You only need the forward and the down forward, and that's kind of it, right? At least for characters like Reina and Kazuya, right? So technically it'd be 13 frames overall versus the 18 frame special style electric. So that's so much slower, but that's not how reality works. We're human beings. Are you telling me you're always going to get a frame perfect forward? Like, that is a frame perfect forward, right? Sure. And then always get a frame perfect down forward? Oh, I was a little off that time. And then hit the button? No, you're not. You're a human being. You're going to have a little bit of messiness to it, a little bit of slop to it, right? Here's me inputting what I believe to be a reasonably fast electric for a regular person. Okay, there we go. So what do we got? What do we got? So here's me doing what I believe to be a reasonably fast electric Wind God Fist. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. So let's look at the numbers here. So I held forward for 3 frames, neutral for a singular frame. I hit down going into the down forward for 2 frames, and then I hit down forward the button, giving me the electric Wind God Fist. Okay, so if we math that out, 3 plus 1, 4, 4 plus 2, 6, 6 plus 11, 17, and wait a second, 17. So you're telling me I was only a single frame faster than just going on easy mode and hitting the button. Like, I felt pretty good about that. Like, let's look again. Okay, I think I did a little better this time. So 2 frames forward, 1 frame neutral, 2 frames down, so 5 frames. So 5 plus 11, 16 frames. So even that, which I consider to be very fast timing overall, is still only 2 frames faster than hit button, right? And I had to like think about it, be quick. Obviously in the middle of a match, like so many other factors can make you slower or whatever, versus special style hit button is always going to be the same. So, okay. Yes, a reasonably timed fast electric can be better than the special style electric. Okay, so that is on the table, right? But there's the human element to it versus the machine element of you're always going to get the right thing and you're never going to screw it up. It's always going to be the electric. If you're a single frame off, which is a lot easier than you think, on the button press you'll get, you know, the punishable version. You don't want that. And now let me introduce the second layer of why I think special style electrics and other specialty moves are pretty dang good. So you enter special style, you can do the move, and you can even leave it, right? So when it comes to like talking frame perfect stuff, let's talk plinking. So plinking is the act of basically hitting 2 buttons as close together as possible, but still having separate timings. And you can plink special style into electric. There we go. So if we have a look here on the side here, the button I pressed special style was a singular frame, and then 1 frame after I hit the button, I hit 2, and it gave me electric. So if the regular startup is 18 frames, and yes, I know we're getting a lot of numbers, I'm sorry, but this is how it's got to be, right? So it gave me a 19 frame electric, and it's from perfectly neutral. I don't got to set anything up or whatever. And once again, as a special style electric, it can never fail. And when you're doing this, you can just tap the button again and leave special style, right? So you're not married to it. You can just do it and then do your business and get out of it, right? Because it's its own separate button. So if you're playing on pad, you can bind to a shoulder button or just whatever button if you're playing on leverless arcade stick or whatever. It doesn't really matter. All you got to do is just tap 1, tap 2, and then leave the stance. So going into this, especially at launch day, I looked at special style as this is baby mode thing. It's not for me, right? And now when I look at it critically, it gives you some of the character's most important tools, maybe at a very slight, penalty of speed, but otherwise the damage is the same, the values are the same, the launchers, if they do launch, are the same, everything else is the same in a very easy way. Like the regular electric, like I'm awesome-ish on doing on the player 1 side. Do it on the player 2 side, it's a little bit of a different story. Not so much, it would seem, on player 2, right? But you know what? Special style, it doesn't judge me. It gives me that electric as easy as you please on the player 2 side. So basically I'm saying open your mind, right? Is it worth a critically important move being, maybe 1 to 3 frames slower if it never fails and is always reliable? Versus, even the biggest pros in Tekken history will drop electrics every now and then because it's tight timing, right? And hey, most of us watching, myself included, I'm not a decade-long Tekken pro, right? Like, I'm a sloppy player. And inputs have never been my strong suit. Let's put it that way. So I look at something like this and I think, is it worth it? And I think maybe. Like, would it be annoying that every now and then when you're starting your offense, you'll see this thing pop up on your screen? Sure. Whatever. But if the electric hits, I don't really care. And of course, the other person will see it too, because if you're playing online, they can see you enter it. But you know what? You can just say this is like your war cry. Let them know what's coming ahead of time, right? But yeah, I think this is actually very valuable. If you're anything short of like a seasoned, hardened Tekken pro, this might be the way to go. I think it's 100% worthwhile to give a couple frames up for a move that's always going to be reliable, especially because for most people, you might not even be giving a couple frames up. For most people, maybe you won't get it the fastest possible timing, right? Even myself, I think I can do it reasonably fast. It's only just a couple frames, and I'm always worried about screwing it up, and I can't barely ever do it on the player 2 side. Compare that to old reliable here, I think it's worth it. Now, let me showcase you some other characters' power moves, just to give you an idea. So, like say modern Street Fighter 6, different directions, and the buttons also give you different moves. So Dragunov neutral specialty move is big boot heat engager, back is a quick punch combo, and forward 1 is the dunk, right? The run 2. So run 2 normally, there you go, that's the blue spark version. It still takes some frames to get off here, right? So it was basically 12 frames before I hit the button, and then the button press, and the actual move itself is 15 frames. So, you know, that's close to 30 frames overall. Special style, don't care. Like, it'll imitate a little bit of a run first, but it'll still just give you the move, right? Without having to, you know, worry about your human error if you may have it. And I guess it can't do the blue spark version, but that's just a couple more points of damage. So, just makes a core move incredibly easy. And once again, just like before with the electrics, you can kind of just flick it, hit the button, and flick it off. You're good to go. So, powerful move with a minimum of effort. So, effectively now that I kind of went through this over and over, don't write this off as just, this is baby mode. Because I don't think it's just baby mode. I think there is some real stuff here. Special style kind of has something for everyone, right? It's not quite modern in Street Fighter. In fact, in a lot of ways, it's a lot better than modern in Street Fighter, considering you can have it on and off at will. So that's my presentation. That's me trying to sell you on this. Try it out for yourself. Don't just write it off. Do the legwork. See for yourself the numbers, all that kind of stuff. And you know what? If you're God, you never fail electrics. You can always do perfect 1 frame electrics. Like, you look at my inputs here and you see, oh man, 6 frames before the button. How slow is that, right? You know what? If you can, good on you, right? I try. There we go. I got 5 frames that time. And 5 frames before the button means I was only 2 frames faster than just doing the electric by special style. So, I don't know. You figure it out, right? But that's the video. That's the thought process. Post in the comments what you think below, and otherwise, we're at the end of the video. So, thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Tekken.